What is going on? Matt O'Leary here with a training camp recap of the day. Practice number 2 is in the books, and let's talk about the biggest storylines from practice and training camp on this lovely Friday afternoon, July 21st, 2023. So apparently the big star today was Tony Adams on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, the Jets starters project to be, as of right now, Adrian Amos and Jordan Whitehead, but neither one of those guys are that deep ball hawking safety type. The Jets are hoping that Tony Adams, who I just mentioned, will eventually become that guy, and today was a good sign as he was all over the field, made a really nice play, trying to go back on the ball, he was going back on the ball. He made a pass deflection against Mecole Hardman on a deep ball. It was laid out there from Aaron Rodgers, and it was a really nice play by Tony Adams. And again, the reason why this is such a big deal is because the Jets don't have anyone else on the roster who projects as that, true back free safety. So that him emerging into that role would be fantastic. The Jets obviously like him a lot. He's been talked up a ton, and he had a good day in a role that the Jets desperately need him to succeed in. Yesterday, we talked about Zach Wilson, who was really, really good. Today was more up and down for Zach Wilson. The bad was he skipped a screen pass, which unfortunately we've seen too much of. And he had a mental error at the line of scrimmage, which caused a false start. But he rebounded well, supposedly. And one of the big things that's been noticeable with him over the last 2 days and the offseason is that he is more willing to climb the pocket, which is one of the biggest issues so far in Zach Wilson's young career. Instead of stepping up in the pocket, he was bailing and doing that spin and roll out and taking massive, massive sacks, or just putting himself in a terrible position to throw the ball. Stepping up in the pocket is key, and that is something that it's very obvious that he's working on, which is a plus. But unfortunately, as we've seen through 2 years of Zach Wilson, he's streaky. He is very streaky, and he's very inconsistent. And today was one of those up and down roller coaster days. While yesterday was a positive, today was a little bit streaky. But if you want to look on the positive side, him stepping up in the pocket and doing that with some consistency would be a major plus. On the offensive line, Dwayne Brown and Mekhi Becton were still rotating between the left tackle spots. There was no Dwayne Brown, so it was Billy Turner, Mekhi Becton. They were rotating through, which is kind of expected at this point. And supposedly Keith Carter was very vocal, and which is a massive difference from what the Jets have had with Benton, who is a little bit more of a reserved and quiet coach. Keith Carter is a fiery guy. Not everybody loves that or responds well to that, but it's a massive difference. And I guess the Jets thought that they needed to get something else. And let's be honest, at times I thought the Jets offensive line got pushed around over the last 2 years. I really didn't like, and whatever your opinion is on Zach Wilson doesn't matter, but I don't like when he takes a big hit, or for instance, in the game where he gets hurt against New England, in his rookie season in 2021. No one no one stood up for him. They, let their quarterback get pushed around. And I don't like that. They need to play with a little bit with a more of an edge. And I'm not saying you go over the top. You're not going to go full, Willie Colon, Richie Incognito, Ryan Jensen, something like that. But there's no reason that they can't, get a little nastier at times. And maybe that's what Keith Carter will bring to this O-line. With Braxton Berrios gone, one of the big question marks is who is going to be the kick and punt returner, and we got some early insight into who that might be. Bam Knight, Xavier Gipson, Israel Abanikanda, Travis Dye, and Alex Erickson all were back there returning kicks and punts. I'm surprised. I'm surprised no Hardman, but in the follow-up tweet, Zach Rosenblatt clarified and said also Mecole Hardman. I would think it's either going to be Hardman or Bam Knight, maybe Izzy, maybe. But my guess is either Hardman or Bam Knight is going to end up being in that role. But interesting to see how that one plays out. Obviously, in games, I think, in the preseason games, we'll have a better idea for who the Jets are, leaning towards. But with Braxton gone, he's kind of served that role over the last few years. So it's going to be interesting to see who the Jets decide to put back there. Also, over the last couple of days, Michael Carter's looked really good with no Bam Knight. With no Breece Hall, Michael Carter looks like he's been the number 2 running back, or the number 1, I guess, technically. So inside track to RB2 when Breece Hall is back. He's got a lot of snaps early on and has looked good. I've been saying hold on to your Michael Carter stock. I thought, there was too much promise after year one to just completely toss it away after frankly, it was a bad year. He did not play well, unfortunately, in the 2022 season, especially down the stretch. I think he was banged up. I'm sticking with it. I think he's someone who can still be a serviceable running back in this core. I really like, Carter and Bam Knight and Izzy. The Jets are deep at running back with their young core, and I think they will be fine there. Also weird, but Muhammad Wilkerson was there, which weird because he was Aaron Rodgers' teammate briefly in 2018 for a short time. Muhammad Wilkerson infamously got paid by the New York Jets after a monster 2015 season and kind of stopped trying in 2016 and 17. He wasn't very good after he got paid. So hopefully keep him far away from Quinnen Williams, but he was a good Jet on his rookie contract, 2011 through 2015. The guy was pretty solid, but after that, unfortunately, things did not go very well. So his ending with the New York Jets wasn't great, but he was an okay Jet for the first 4 or 5 years of his career. So that's an interesting one. That's it for me on today's recap. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Matt. I'll catch you next time.